If you're a high-income earner who's been interested in real estate but haven't taken the leap yet, it may be because the advice you've seen just doesn't apply to you. Most of the financial advice out there is built for people with average incomes. And once your income crosses into the higher six figures, the rules change. You're dealing with a completely different set of problems and a completely different set of opportunities. I've been there myself. My wife and I are both physicians. We used real estate to shelter 100% of our multiple six-figure incomes for 7 years. We reached financial freedom in just 3 years. And today, we live in Puerto Rico and travel about 6 months out of the year. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to get started in real estate, even if you have zero experience, specifically for a high-income earner. Because if you're making a lot of money, using strategies built for the average investor won't just slow you down, it can keep you stuck for decades. And to understand why that happens, we need to start with a mistake almost every high-income earner makes early on. Let's start here because this is where most high-income earners tend to get stuck. If you're a high-income earner, your situation is fundamentally different from someone making an average income. You probably spent more years in school, delayed gratification longer, took on significant student loan debt, and now that you finally earn a high income, you're being taxed at the highest marginal rates. You make more money, but you also give more away. And here's the frustrating part. Most of the advice you hear is built around problems you don't actually have. You don't need to hustle for more income. You already know how to earn more money. What you actually need is a much larger tax shelter than the average person, cash flow that actually makes a dent in high salary, a path to freedom that doesn't take 20 to 30 years. For someone making $70,000 or $80,000 a year, a few $100s a month in cash flow matters. For someone making $300,000, $500,000, or $1 million a year, it barely registers. The same is true with taxes. A simple tax strategy might help an average earner. A high-income earner needs intentional, scalable strategies to create a real tax shelter. That's why so many high-income earners feel stuck. They're doing everything right. They're maxing out retirement accounts, they're investing in index funds, they're working harder than ever. And yet, freedom still feels far away. That's because the system they're following was never designed for them. So the real question becomes, if the traditional playbook doesn't work for high-income earners, what does? And this is exactly why my wife and I had to build a completely different approach, one that matched our income level and one that matched the insane amount of taxes we were paying. What we eventually realized was this: high-income earners don't want slow freedom. They want freedom in years, not decades. That realization led us to create what we now call the Fast Fire system. This isn't theory. This is the exact blueprint we use to build our own portfolio. When we started investing together, our goal was very clear. We wanted to replace 2 doctor incomes, about $600,000 a year. We gave ourselves 7 years to do it. And to be honest, at the time, we didn't completely believe it was possible, but we wanted it badly enough to pursue it anyway. What ended up happening surprised even us. We didn't replace $600,000 in income, but within 3 years, we were generating enough cash flow and saving enough taxes to cover our expenses and free ourselves from practicing medicine. That experience fundamentally changed how we think about investing. The Fast Fire system is designed specifically for people who want freedom quickly, have high incomes, and are willing to be intentional about how they invest. It consists of 4 parts: see the money, make the money, keep the money, and expand the money. And the order matters, so let's start with the most overlooked part: see the money. This is the most important part of the system because if you don't believe financial freedom is possible for you, you'll sabotage yourself long before you get there. Not intentionally, but subtly. You'll hesitate, you'll overanalyze, you'll focus on everything that can go wrong. You'll quit when things get uncomfortable. We've seen this happen over and over again with our students. See the money is about getting your mindset right before you even buy a property. For us, this meant clearly defining what we wanted and why. We weren't investing because it sounded interesting or because everyone else was doing it. We were investing because we wanted control over our time and our lives. That's why we invested heavily in mindset. It's why we spent multiple 6 figures on personal development programs. And it's why we spent so much time working on mindset with the people we mentor and coach. Because we believe that success in real estate is at least 80% mindset. You need a compelling future that's strong enough to pull you through uncertainty, fear, and discomfort. Once that's in place, the strategy actually sticks. But mindset alone won't build freedom. At some point, you'll have to put the strategy to work. And that's what the second part is all about. The second part of the Fast Fire system is called Make the Money. And it's all about the strategy for building a portfolio of cash flowing, value-add properties. We only buy properties that cash flow, and cash flow enough to make a difference for a high-income earner. And once you own multiple properties, that cash flow becomes meaningful. And most people don't realize that the cash flow you earn is largely tax-free, so you don't need to fully replace your income for it to make a big difference in your life. But cash flow alone isn't what accelerates everything. The real speed, the fast fire, comes from hidden value. Hidden value is what most people walk right past. For example, when we see a detached garage, we don't see a place for tenants to park their car. We see $200 to $400 a month in additional rent by converting that garage into a workspace. When we do that, we've created thousands of dollars in annual cash flow and tens to hundreds of thousands in forced appreciation per property. This is how you turn an average deal into a great one. You buy right, you cash flow immediately, and then you actively look for ways to increase the value of the property. And if you start to see how hidden value can compress the timeline to achieve freedom, it's only part of the equation. Keeping more of what you earn is where the timeline really compresses. So that leads us to keep the money. This is where real estate becomes incredibly powerful for high-income earners. Cash flow is often tax-free at baseline because of depreciation and write-offs. But that's not the real advantage. The real advantage is using real estate to shelter earned income. And for a high-income earner, the impact is magnified. Sheltering your income puts a lot of money back into your pocket. How do you shelter your income? We did this by qualifying for IRS-approved strategies like real estate professional status and the short-term rental tax loophole. These strategies, when used correctly, can legally shelter your W-2 or 1099 income. This allowed us to pay zero income tax on multiple six-figure salaries for years. Most high-income earners know exactly how much they'll make in a year. So the question becomes, why not create a tax shelter that matches that income? The sooner you do this, the faster you can reinvest those savings and accelerate your timeline. And once you stop sending six figures to the IRS every year, something interesting happens. You suddenly have fuel to accelerate the growth of your portfolio, which leads to the final part of the system, expand the money. The final part of the Fast Fire system is expanding your portfolio rapidly by harvesting what we call lazy equity. Lazy equity is the value trapped in a property from appreciation and debt paydown that isn't actively working for you. When we build up a lot of equity in a property, we then harvest that equity through refinances or tax-deferred sales and redeploy it into larger properties. This is how you scale. This is how we grew from small multifamily to owning over 180 doors directly and more than 2,400 doors through syndications. This is how we turned a $140,000 duplex into a $2 million 16-unit multifamily property. And that brings us back to you, because the question now isn't whether this works, it's how you start. If you're just getting started, your first property should cash flow from day one, have clear value add potential, be in a landlord-friendly and growing market, and fit into a long-term strategy. Avoid properties that rely purely on appreciation. Avoid deals that barely break even. Avoid anything that doesn't move you meaningfully closer to freedom. A bad deal with good tax benefits is still a bad deal. Here's what I recommend. First, find a mentor who has actually earned a high income and successfully built a portfolio of cash flowing properties. Someone who has sheltered multiple six figures a year using strategies like real estate professional status and the short-term rental tax loophole. Then go out and build a strong team, especially an investor-focused agent. Learn how to analyze deals properly. Choose the market you invest in intentionally, and don't overcomplicate the tax side at the beginning. Taxes matter, but more important is to learn how to buy a great real estate deal. If you're a high-income earner watching this, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not behind. You are not stuck. But the strategy you've been following may not be designed for you. Real estate done correctly can give you freedom a lot faster than most people believe is possible. If this resonates, hit like and subscribe to the channel. We'll be breaking down tax strategies, deal analysis, and mindset shifts that actually move the needle for high-income earners. And if you're ready to take action, book a free strategy call with our team. I'll leave a link below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.